through an Agile transformation about 2 years ago, and it went very well. It's very successful. We worked with Jim Shore, who is part of the Agile Fluency project. And 2 years into it, even though everything had been going well, we noticed there was some backsliding in our system and that not everybody was doing kind of the things we wanted them to do. What we realized was that we hadn't gotten a really good view of how our system was operating since the Agile transformation itself. And so we reached out to the Agile Fluency project to get training because their diagnostic gave us a phenomenal tool to understand how all of the parts of our system were working together. And they gave us a really wonderful kind of high-level view as well as a view from the ground about what we were really doing. When we did our Agile transformation, because Jim Shore helped lead us through it, the model behind the Agile Fluency project, the Agile Fluency Model, was heavily baked into our thinking. This was very helpful for us because Agile, if you look at it from the outside, you see a competing mishmash of techniques like Scrum and XP, et cetera, that have branding behind them, and they're very opinionated about you do it our way or you don't do it at all. And it's a very framework-specific kind of a domain. And what the Agile Fluency Model really does for us is it gave us a way to think about Agile overall without being dedicated to any one of those methodologies. Those methodologies are very helpful, and they can be very good when applied, but they are essentially in competition with each other, and that makes it so that you're either doing something or the other thing. And really, that's not the essence of Agile. The heart of Agile is about what's in the manifesto. And I think that what the Agile Fluency Model really did well is they looked at the underpinnings behind all of those models, all of those different competing systems, all of those frameworks, and they give you a mental model for understanding how they might be working. The other thing that was very helpful with the model is it gave us a way to talk about what we were trying to achieve in our own Agile transformation so we could get alignment around what the outcomes were going to be. A lot of times people approach Agile transformation as, I want to buy a box of Agile. And turns out one box does not fit everybody. You need a very specific box that's shaped just right for you and for your organization. And having the Fluency Model in play meant that we could talk about what kind of box we wanted, and then we were able to design one for ourselves. And that's, I think, one of the critical reasons why our transformation was very successful. We engaged with the diagnostic a few months ago, and we did it in the lead up to running a very full team health assessment. And so because the Agile model, the Agile Fluency Model thinking was baked into our system, their diagnostic was a very good fit for us to understand how our teams are behaving, at least according to the Agile Fluency Model. We supplemented that diagnostic with a whole bunch of other questions that the Agile Fluency project doesn't care about, things like, do people on the team get along, that sort of stuff. Do they have good management? Are they making good cultural decisions for themselves? And we combined all of that and built a much larger diagnostic that we rolled out to 50 teams internally. And through that work, we discovered all kinds of interesting problems about how our system was working. The description we had on paper of how product management actually happened did not match what was happening in the real world. And so those of us who are organizational architects like me, we were looking at it going, well, everything should be fine. Why are there problems? Well, it turns out there were problems because we weren't doing what we said we were going to be doing. And so using the diagnostic really showed us all of the ways in which we could have been doing better. And so after that exercise of going through and sitting with 50 teams and having a long conversation with each of them, we were able to drive a lot of positive change into our system. So we closed all kinds of loops. We realized, for example, that the biggest gap we had was that our stakeholders weren't providing enough feedback to the teams. There's a variety of reasons for that, but 2/3 of our teams were telling us that was a problem. And we were able to discover that and then remedy that situation because of the diagnostic and our ability to sit with the teams and understand how they were doing. So I've personally benefited quite a bit from the Agile Fluency project and the diagnostic. So First, when we did our Agile transformation a couple of years ago and the model got introduced to me, I was just beginning my own journey as an Agilist. And so that helped me really structure my thoughts, which gave me a lot of traction and actually changed the course of my career. So A+, would career change again. But following that, as we went through our team health assessments, we've started talking about them in public. And having the model to back our thinking is very powerful because it means that we can rely on authority. This is kind of a slightly dirty rhetorical trick. It's an appeal to authority, but it's a very good authority, so I don't mind doing it because their thinking really is very mature. The second thing it's done is because we are, I think, very much on the cutting edge around this team health assessment. We're doing it at a scale that almost nobody is. We're getting a lot of traction out in the tech space around these ideas. And so having the model gave us the diagnostic, which influenced our decision to do a big health assessment, which in turn is getting us a lot of public credibility. And I think it really highlights one of the central things that New Relic is all about right now, which is we're heavily investing in our teams and our people to make this just the best place to work. And the Agile Fluency Diagnostic is a big part of that for us.